They looked right through you, in the meeting, at the table, in the room. They spoke over you, dismissed your idea, handed the opportunity to someone louder, someone more visible, someone they could read like a children's book. And it burned, not because you were wrong, because you were right, and they didn't even look long enough to find out. Here is what they never told you. That burn, that quiet, invisible rage of being overlooked, is not your weakness. It is your most dangerous weapon, and you have been wasting it by trying to prove yourself to people who are not worth the performance. You are an open book. Everyone around you has already read every page. They know when you are angry before you say a word. They know when you are afraid before you admit it to yourself. Your face betrays you. Your voice betrays you. Your silence betrays you. Today, that ends. You are going to learn the complete architecture of becoming unreadable and unforgettably underestimated using psychology, biology, and Machiavellian strategy. But be warned, this requires you to kill the part of you that needs to be seen, the part that wants credit before the work is done. If you cannot kill that part, this will not work, because the weapon only loads in the dark. Part 1. The biology of betrayal. Before you can conceal your emotions, you must understand why your body is working against you. You did not choose to be readable. You were engineered for it. 70,000 years ago, your ancestors lived in small tribes. Emotional transparency was survival. The human face evolved into the most sophisticated emotional broadcasting system on the planet. 43 muscles, over 10,000 distinct expressions. Paul Ekman, the psychologist who studied facial expressions for 40 years, discovered something disturbing: micro-expressions, involuntary flashes of genuine emotion that cross your face in 1/25th of a second. They cannot be faked. They cannot be suppressed. They leak through your social mask before your conscious mind even registers what you are feeling. You are leaking constantly. In the boardroom, at dinner, on the date. Robert Sapolsky from Stanford showed that the stress hormone cortisol is detectable in your body language within seconds of its release. Your shoulders rise, your jaw tightens, your eye contact shifts. You become a walking signal that you can be rattled. To become unreadable, you do not fight your biology. You build a second architecture on top of it. Part 2. The philosophy of the concealed self. Carl Jung called it the persona, the carefully constructed mask the psychologically sophisticated wear, not to deceive the world, but to protect the self. Machiavelli called it the fox, the part of the prince that moves silently, reveals nothing, and strikes only when the moment is perfect. The Stoics called it the inner citadel, the fortress of the self that no external force can penetrate. Most people mistake their persona for their true self. They have worn the mask so long they have forgotten what is underneath, and that makes them fragile. Reactive, readable, the person who needs to be seen as smart becomes visibly rattled when their intelligence is questioned. Their persona is not a mask. It is a wound they are protecting. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler must be both a lion and a fox. The lion for force, the fox for cunning. What made the fox truly dangerous was its inscrutability. It reveals nothing. It moves without announcing. It strikes without telegraphing. This is not suppression. It is sovereignty. You feel everything. You display only what serves you. The 5 pillars of emotional concealment. Pillar 1. The neutral face. Your face is the primary leak point. Effective neutrality is the ability to hold your face in a state of calm, interested blankness, regardless of what is happening internally. This is not the blank stare of someone switched off. It is the face of a chess grandmaster studying the board, alive, present, but telegraphing nothing. When you receive any news, good or bad, pause for 1 full second before your face reacts. In that second, consciously choose what to display. Practice in the mirror for 3 minutes every morning. Over time, this pause becomes automatic. People will tell you that you are hard to read. That is the highest compliment available to you. Pillar 2. The economics of information. You are broke because you spend too much informationally. Every time you reveal your plan before it is complete, you spend. Every time you explain your pain to someone who did not earn the right to hear it, you spend. Every time you overshare your opinion, your history, your fears, you spend. Information is currency. When you give it away freely, you devalue yourself. Before you speak in any conversation, ask yourself one question. Does releasing this information serve me, or does it serve them? If the answer is them, stay silent. Stop explaining yourself. Explanation is the language of the insecure. The sovereign does not explain the decree. Pillar 3. The mastery of silence. Silence is the most misunderstood weapon in the psychological arsenal. Most people experience silence as failure, a gap that must be filled with words, laughter, noise. This discomfort with silence is one of the most readable things about a person. When you rush to fill silence, you broadcast anxiety, the need for approval, and the inability to tolerate absence of stimulation. Expensive information, handed out for free. The psychologically unreadable person has made peace with silence. It feels like home. After the other person finishes speaking, resist the urge to speak for 3 extra seconds. Let the silence breathe. Watch what happens. They lean forward. They add information they never intended to give. They reveal themselves in the space you quietly held open. You will learn more about a person in 3 seconds of silence than in 30 minutes of conversation. When someone attacks you with words, silence is your most devastating response. The attacker expects resistance. When you go silent, you remove the fuel. They will begin to defend their own attack without you saying a single word. The power transfers completely. You have not moved, and yet you have won. Pillar 4. The controlled revelation. Complete opacity is as readable as complete transparency. A person who never shows any emotion is readable as someone who is hiding. The truly unreadable person does not hide everything. They control what they reveal, and when they reveal it. Think of it as curating an exhibition. A museum does not put every artifact on display at once. It selects, it arranges, it lights certain pieces and leaves others in storage. You are the curator of your own psychological exhibition. Choose one specific quality you want to be known for. Intelligence, warmth, competence. Pick one. Reveal it deliberately in one controlled moment per conversation. A dry observation that reveals intelligence without arrogance. A moment of warmth that signals humanity without desperation. Everything else stays private. Vulnerability is not weakness. When displayed strategically and sparingly, it is one of the most powerful tools of influence. The key word is choose. You do not leak vulnerability, you release it, on your terms, at the moment of maximum impact. Pillar 5. The emotional audit. You cannot conceal what you have not first understood. Most people fail at emotional concealment because they suppress. Suppressed emotions do not disappear. They build pressure and explode through the cracks at the worst possible moments. The emotional audit is different. It is daily, cold examination of your internal landscape. Sit alone. No phone, no music, no distraction. Ask yourself 3 questions and write the answers down. 1. What emotion did I leak today that I did not intend to? 2. What triggered it, and why does that trigger exist? 3. What would a completely sovereign version of me have done instead? Marcus Aurelius did this every single day. The man who commanded the greatest empire on earth audited his own soul every morning. He understood that self-knowledge is the only power that cannot be taken from you. Do this for 30 days. The leaks slow. Reactions become responses. People begin to sense something different about you, something they cannot name. Part 3. Machiavelli's weapon. Now the second layer. Not just unreadable, but underestimated by design. Most people spend their entire lives trying to be seen. They perform. They broadcast. And what does that get them? Surveillance, resistance, competition. The moment you reveal your hand, the game changes. Threats emerge. The system organizes itself around containing you. Machiavelli observed this in every court he studied. The man who announced his ambition early was the man who was stopped early. The invisible man has no enemies yet. He moves freely. He has access, information, and time. When someone dismisses you, they are not making a calculated judgment. They are making a lazy one. They look at surface signals, your silence, your stillness, and they file you away as low priority. This is their cognitive shortcut, and it is your open door. The moment they underestimate you, they lower their guard. They speak freely around you. They reveal their strategies, their fears, their weaknesses. They stop calculating against you because in their mind, you are not a player. Machiavelli called this the gift of being forgotten. When the powerful forget you exist, you can move through their world like a ghost. The underestimator is handing you a map of their entire operation, and they do not even know they are doing it. Think of Sima Yi, the brilliant Chinese strategist who faked illness for months, allowed his enemies to mock him, allowed them to believe he was broken. He sat in that humiliation deliberately and patiently until the guard was completely down. Then he moved, and it was over before it started. The discipline is this: when you feel the urge to correct someone, to prove yourself, to be seen, take one breath. Count to 5. Ask yourself one question. Does speaking now serve my objective or just my ego? 90% of the time, the answer will be ego. Stay silent. The mask stays on. And then arrive with results. Words can be debated. Results cannot. When you have been working in silence while they were busy performing, the gap between you becomes a canyon. They spent energy on visibility. You spent energy on capability. And capability, compounded in silence, becomes something they have no language for. The person who underestimated you does not get an apology. They do not get an explanation. They get to watch. That is the coldest, cleanest form of victory available to you. The shadow underneath. The reason you are readable is not just biology. There is a wound underneath. You need to be understood. Somewhere in your history, probably in childhood, you learned that being seen meant being safe. Being known meant being accepted. So you developed a hunger to make your internal state legible to everyone around you. And that hunger has been used against you your entire life. Becoming unreadable does not mean becoming unfeeling. It means making a surgical distinction between the people who have earned your openness and the broader world that has not. When you no longer need to be understood by everyone, you become selective, intentional. The person who, when they do choose to open a door, does it from sovereignty, not desperation, not habit, from complete and deliberate choice. The architecture is complete. You came into this as an open book. You are leaving as an architect. The biology that betrayed you, you now understand it. The 5 pillars, the neutral face, the economics of information, the mastery of silence, the controlled revelation, the emotional audit, you now have them. Machiavelli's strategy of being underestimated, the discipline of the mask, the gift of being forgotten, they are yours. The world will notice. They will not know what changed. They will tell you that you seem different, that you are harder to read. They will lean forward trying to find the edge of you and discover that you have no visible edges anymore. You have become the room itself, present everywhere, located nowhere. And in that unreadability, you will find something you have been looking for your entire life without knowing its name. You will find that you are finally, completely, and entirely your own. The ghost does not announce himself. He arrives. Subscribe if you understand what was just said. And if you want the deeper layer, the psychology they do not allow on the main channel, the join button is there. Most will not click it. That is exactly the point.